Jay-Z is now in serious trouble as the people he once crossed are coming back for revenge. Gene Deal recently revealed that Jay-Z is next on the hit list, and even Beyoncé is reportedly preparing to distance herself. On top of that, Diddy has also pulled away from Jay after he failed to support him during the trial.
Kind of funny to me, man, is that Diddy used to hate Jay-Z. He hated Jay-Z enough when he was trying to get Ja Rule to go at Jay-Z. This is back in the early 2000s.
Did Diddy always say negative things about Jay around you?
The time he was trying to get Ja Rule to go at Jay, yeah, he was. They worked it out.
Was there a reason behind it?
I couldn't tell you the reason behind it. It's probably because Big had died. I don't know what it was, man. I don't know why he wanted Ja Rule to go at Jay. I guess if he kept them beefing or kept them into some bullshit, he could rise up in between both of them. You know what I mean? It definitely was.
Jay-Z has always been surrounded by violence, but this time, he's the one facing it. Jaguar Wright and Gene Deal have been warning about this for years, claiming that both Jay-Z and Diddy have dangerous, violent tendencies. Now it seems karma is finally catching up. Diddy landed in prison, but for Jay-Z, things could take an even darker turn.
Nice. Irv Gotti and Jay Prince. These four gentlemen got together. Gonna put up $30 million apiece.
Contemplating doing the first black-owned distribution company.
The thing is, they wasn't trying to let us in the door. That's why I don't trust these people.
But Suge came up with the idea. It was a brilliant plan. He said, whatever the recording funds, 10% goes to the union. Each time you do a new album, 10%. It was going to be some get down or lay down shit. Shortly after that, the feds raided.
All of us were getting hit up around the same time. Someone left that meet talking about our move.
It was Jay-Z and Puff that went to those Leo Corner to let them know what Suge Knight was trying to do. They told Jay, if you help us get rid of Dame, we're going to make you the president of Def Jam.
Why don't we stick together and they got to come to us? For some reason, everybody just wants to do everything on their own. They don't understand collective.
The industry now sees Jay-Z as a snitch. And people haven't forgotten that he paid Lance on Rivera to keep silent about the stabbing incident. Jay-Z even pleaded guilty to third-degree assault for stabbing Rivera back in December 1999. Yet, Rivera insists that Jay-Z never actually stabbed him. The reason is clear. Lance knows it's safer for him to stay quiet.
A top rap star is busted.
Jay-Z turned himself in tonight, and the cops started working on his rap sheet, accusing him of a stabbing at a trendy party.
Kimberly Richardson is at Midtown South right now. Kimberly.
Well, Rosanna, just a few hours ago, police here at Midtown South arrested Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z. The rap star voluntarily turned himself in here at the precinct earlier this evening. Now, Carter is being held here in connection with that stabbing fight that erupted at the Kit Kat Club last night. But just a few moments ago, Carter's attorney had this to say.
He's not involved in this, period.
He was at the club?
That's my only comment. He wasn't involved in this.
So it was someone else that did the stabbing and the hitting?
I didn't say that. I said he was not involved in it.
Now, Slovis goes on to say that at no time was Jay-Z hiding from the police, that they were in touch with cops all day and that they're trying to resolve this as gentlemen. But as Mike Sheehan shows us, others say they've seen the dark side of Jay-Z.
I have my faults. I'm not a...
Jay-Z shows no remorse for his actions. In fact, he's even given interviews claiming that stabbing Lance was the best thing that ever happened to him. What kind of person says something like that? At the same time, Jay-Z is reportedly pressuring Lance to keep quiet. Everyone at the Kit Kat Club that night saw what really went down. And the only person denying that Jay-Z stabbed Lance is Lance himself.
I had an incident with Rivera, where you pled guilty to charges of, I don't remember exactly the charges, assault with a deadly weapon.
They would have never let me be out here with you if that was the case.
You stabbed him. Okay. All right. Do you feel like that was a mistake in hindsight?
I believe that was the greatest thing ever. This is gonna sound crazy, but I believe that helped me. You know what I'm saying? Because that put the brakes on everything. That let me know that no matter how successful you are and how much you on your road, it can all stop. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you still kid from Marcy Projects, and not everybody they waiting for you to mess up. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just go ahead. You know what I'm saying? We let you just go ahead and self-destruct yourself. You know what I'm saying? But that right there was a moment I was like, okay. You know, and I'm glad it didn't have to take for me to be in jail for like 7 years to be like, damn. Oh, you know what I'm saying? That moment was like, okay, all that stops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not going to parties with 30 people, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not put myself in that position.
When you look at Dame, still kind of living that life. You know, you could find Dame at the club. You know,
Yeah, but he's with 30 models. It's a little different. I was with the hood.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good point. He's hanging at a different kind of club.
It was Diddy, and now it's Jay-Z. It seems like someone is coming for all the villains in Hollywood. And it's only a matter of time before Jay faces his own downfall. Ice Cube even said he believes Diddy was targeted and that his fall was carefully planned. One day, Diddy was a billionaire jet-setting across the globe. And less than a year later, he lost $700 million and ended up behind bars. Something about that just doesn't add up.
You're hearing Diddy everywhere. Okay.
Yeah.
So, did you ever have any kind of run-in with Diddy? Did you ever do anything with Diddy? Any projects you worked on with him?
He produced a few records, or had his producers do a few records on my War and Peace album, the Peace Disc. Yeah.
How was he to work with?
It was cool. You know, he gave us great music. We flew out to New York, and I was mainly in the studio with the producer. You know, he had a stable of producers, so I was in the studio with his stable of producers, and I think we did some great music. And you know, I really kind of lost contact with him and really stopped dealing with Puffy around 94. Yeah.
Any specific reason?
Yeah, I mean, they was doing their thing, I was doing mine. And I'm not the partying type. You know what I mean? I ain't never been to a Diddy party. I ain't never really wanted to go, but I don't go to a lot of people parties. That just ain't what I'm in it for.
Jay-Z may seem tough, but he hasn't shown he can actually handle a real fight. Back in 1996, during the height of the East Coast-West Coast feud, he locked himself in his Las Vegas hotel room, afraid of running into Tupac. Gene Deal revealed that Suge Knight, head of Death Row Records, had to step in to defuse the situation, convincing Tupac to leave Jay-Z alone so he could go on stage and perform.
Story behind Jay-Z being afraid to come out his hotel room because of Pac. All right, what happened is that I guess Pac had got whiff that Jay-Z was in town. Well, he gonna do a show because Jay-Z, he doing a show. But you got to realize Jay-Z had became an enemy of Pac because I think he had said was going to do a song with Big or whatever like that, the whole 9 yards. So Jay is now Pac's enemy too. So Chaz Williams, who was over Black Hands. Black Hands was one of the labels who did that Black Gangster had every artist in New York on. And Chaz, who is now getting into the music business, has become a music executive. And he was once a former gangster who was on American Gangster BET because they had him down for robbing 161 banks. That's what they put in their program and everything. But Chaz was a gangster in New York City that became a music executive. So he gets a phone call saying that Jay is not going to come out the room because Tupac threatened him. So he's not going to do his show. Can he make some phone calls, you understand, to get Pac off the bullshit? So I think he may have talked to Big D, and Big D and Eric B called Suge, and Suge was laughing, saying that wasn't him. Because they tried to make it seem like it was Suge that was doing it, but it was Pac. So I guess Suge called Pac. Pac let him go ahead and do his show and everything like that. But Jay was scared to come out his room.
So that story was really true about Jay-Z being afraid to come out his hotel room.
Yeah, come on, man. Yeah, he was scared. Probably still is.
Even Gene admitted he wanted to knock Jay's head off. If Jay-Z were truly as dangerous as he claims, would Gene even be saying something like that?
One time I wanted to knock his head off. you know, because he was being disrespectful. We was in Cancun, and he had a personal assistant from my block named Laura. And he had brought like 6 people to the club with him, and he was only supposed to get 3 people in. I was running the door at Daddy-O's from In the Streets Entertainment. They just told me Jay-Z only get 3 people in. So I'm at the door. I said, yo, Jay, you good? And 3 of your other good, but the other 3 got to pay. So then he said, Laura, handle him. And at that time, the type of dude I was, you couldn't tell no woman to handle me when I'm talking to you as a man. I said, who you talking to like that? You telling her to handle me? And then me and him, you know, he didn't say that. He just turned to the side. And if he'd have turned back around, he'd have got his head knocked off. But Laura told me, yo, Gene, please, Gene, you're going to make me lose my job. You know what I'm saying? And because once she was beautiful, 2, she from our block, I wasn't going to do that to her. So I gathered myself, stepped away from the situation. You know what I'm saying? But he was
D. Dully and Jay were tied to the same crimes, with eyewitnesses backing up those claims. Everyone on the streets knew they were working together. Gene even revealed that he personally knew some minors connected to Jay. Yet Jay-Z was never arrested. The industry kept quiet and shielded him from consequences. But just like Diddy, the truth is finally surfacing, and it's only a matter of time before Jay's entire empire starts to fall apart.
I want to say this to protect myself, that there's stories of Jay talking to underage girls. It was a girl from my block that was 16, 17 years old that Jay was talking to. If she was 17. So there's plenty of stories out there that they might flood the market of Jay talking to underage girls. I heard this kid that is claiming to be his son. His mother was 15 when she conceived him and had him at 16. And Jay refused to do a blood test or anything like that.
From your point of view, because I know you heard the statement that, you know, Jay lawyer came out with about how he wasn't really friends with Diddy. From your point of view, was they really friends or no?
How close was Diddy and Jay-Z? They was close enough that they wasn't playing basketball. They wasn't playing baseball. They wasn't playing football. And they wasn't playing hockey or soccer for Diddy to come on stage, pat him on his ass, and then make the statement to people in the world that can't nobody call me Sean but Jay-Z. Now, I don't know what kind of statement, and I can't say, I wish I could say half a homo, but I know I can't say it. But I don't know what kind of half a homo that is. And you trying to say that you're not close to somebody. You coming on stage, patting them on their ass, and then you making a broad statement to the public, can't nobody call me Sean but Sean Carter. And I heard Jay-Z said the same thing about them. But they were so close that they had matching white girls together. Because when they used to see each other, they used to say, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? He'd be like, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? So I guess that's a certain type of closeness.
Coincidence that news of Jay-Z being targeted in prison is surfacing just as Diddy faces similar attacks behind bars. Over the past 2 months, there have been several attempts on Diddy's life, and the only reason he's still alive is because a nearby corrections officer intervened. Someone is clearly after Diddy, and that same person appears to be coming for Jay-Z.
Very scary happened to him. One of his close friends is speaking out and saying that while he was sleeping at the MDC Brooklyn jail, somebody came and put a knife, pressed it to his throat. Now, as I keep digging into the story, they're saying, yes, a correctional officer or a police officer was the one who came and basically helped him out and quote unquote saved him. Yes. And so, you know, obviously Diddy's lawyers are trying to use this as a way to just get him even moved to a different location. But right now, everything is kind of staying as is.
Yeah, his safety being an issue when he's supposed to be, you know, I think in some sort of protected environment. You know, remember MDC, isn't that where the Epstein situation happened?
Yeah.
Is he safe though? And you say something about him getting stabbed?
I was going to say, Diddy's team is saying no, he's not going to be safe, because in court, we found out that there was an attempt on Diddy's life, that there was a man that attempted to shank him, but they stopped it, the correctional officers. And they say Diddy didn't even want people to know that he didn't want to make it a big deal. But of course, they're having that conversation about will he be safe because of who he is and how high profile this case is.
Right.
They're also having a conversation. Mark Geragos is a high profile attorney, a friend of Diddy's, but also the dad of Teenie Geragos, who led Diddy's defense about Diddy potentially being raped in court. And we can and just attacks on his life, because they say that people look at him as like a trophy or a prize, and to do something to him.
Well, what if other inmates hear all of the stuff that we've been hearing in the news all of these weeks, and they scared of Diddy?
That's not how they presented it. I don't.
That's crazy to say Diddy's a trophy. Like, he's looked at as a trophy in jail.
It karma. But Diddy is now genuinely afraid of being sexually assaulted in prison. For the first time, he's on the receiving end of the same kind of violence he once dished out.
Are you concerned that Sean Diddy Combs could be sexually assaulted, violently assaulted? Is that a thing? Because based on what was said in court, it feels like a thing.
Yeah, it clearly is a thing. I mean, they're already, and he did not want to make a big deal of it. They already tried to shank him once at the MDC, and that was thwarted. And it happens in prison. I mean, you and I could tick off how many times we are aware of somebody getting seriously injured or killed in prison. And so they're going to have to keep him somewhere that they can keep an eye on him. It would have obviously been better if he had gotten less time and had been at a camp. But he's going to be in a facility where somebody's going to have to, from the BOP, and I think they're well equipped to do it if they can, to keep an eye on him, because he is a target.
So let's say he is sent to a minimum security prison. Is he out of the woods when it comes to that kind of assault?
If you're going, you and I talked about Ghislaine Maxwell, who went from the one place in Florida, which was a higher level, not a camp. And she was transferred after she did the interview with the couple-day interview. She was transferred to what they call a camp in Texas, which I'm familiar with. I've had other.
Gene has confirmed that the attack really took place. Charlucci Finney, one of Diddy's closest friends, was the first to report it. An inmate armed with a shiv sneaked into Diddy's cell and tried to attack him in the middle of the night. This marks the second attempt on Diddy's life. And it's important to remember that this isn't even the worst challenge he's faced behind bars.
The lawyers, when they were speaking on Diddy being in prison and the circumstances him being in prison, I didn't never hear about this, and nobody ever said anything about this. And I want to know if it's in the prison records. They said one of the guards stopped a dude from shanking Diddy. Now, I'm like, if he was doing all this positive shit in jail, and they was talking about he was, all the inmates loved him, and they was employing him and doing standing ovation. I wonder what inmate was trying to shake him. Was that one of the Tupac? Was that one of the Tupac fans, or that was one of Biggie fans? Because they said that the guard, they said that in court. One of the lawyers, one of the guards stopped one of the individuals that was trying to shank him, bruh. And that was crazy. Nobody, I never, that didn't leak. Everything leaks from prison, but that didn't leak. Nobody wrote home and said, yo, dudes is in here trying to stab Diddy up. But the lawyers mentioned that today. I want to see if they're going to investigate that right there. You know what I'm saying? And base that, or he probably used that, base that on trying to help Diddy getting into one of those camps or one of those programs that, he ain't got to worry about nothing.
Not forget that Jay doesn't have the same level of protection Diddy once had. Diddy was reportedly cooperating with the government as an informant. While Jay's safety depended solely on powerful figures within the industry, if those elites have decided they're done with him, it means Jay-Z is now completely on his own.
Should go on for so long
You know, when we were on the street, we didn't get a day's rest. I mean, the government was all over us. The FBI is all over us. They got investigations on us. They got informants. They got surveillance equipment.
He was might not cutting you off, but he was an informant for years.
Was he really?
Yeah. That's why when people was like, oh, he's going to run, oh, he's not. So the reason why these type of people get caught up, they always been feeling they bigger than the law because they part of the law, you know? And as you know, all these people get tarred their
kinds of crimes Diddy and Jay were mixed up in can put anyone's life at risk. Michael Frenzy's a former capo in the Colombo crime family who spent years in prison, said that if someone like Diddy had been in the mafia, they would have taken him out the moment they learned what he'd been doing. Even organized crime families wouldn't tolerate the things Diddy did to women, and the same goes for Jay-Z.